You guys ready? Hello, my name is Ronan Arrington, and this speech is entitled Communication Using Text. Every day, billions of people communicate with one another in some fashion. When people think of communication, normally the first thing that comes to mind is verbal communication. However, take a moment to think about the amount of communication that takes place without words ever being spoken. The prevalence of communication utilizing written language is ever increasing with the use of email and text messages. Being an 18-year-old college student, I am exposed to using text to communicate on a daily basis. If used correctly, communication using text can be one of the most efficient and productive types of communication. Today, I'll be talking about how text has grown as a way to communicate, along with some of the problems that could arise from using text as a communication tool. According to Jason Demers, in an article called Communication in 2015, Text, Voice, Video, or In Person, published on January 29, 2015, the use of text messages allows people to better communicate in a concise, organized manner. Demer goes on to mention that with text messages, an individual is allowed to better communicate and get their desired point across because texting does not allow room for small talk. This alone allows for better use of time while still maintaining the necessary level of communication. Demer also mentions that the use of text to communicate has become one of the most popular pathways of communication. This means that there is a good chance that whoever you need to communicate with will be able to respond in an efficient manner. Now that I've discussed the upsides of using text messages, let me move on to my next point, which is how text messaging has changed communication as a whole. In an article called Technology, Texties May Be the Death of English, written by Lily Wong on August 1st, 2008, she discusses how language has evolved with the craze of texting. She goes on to point out that English has always been a language that is consistently evolving, and how text messaging evolved the language in its own way. Shakespeare himself pioneered the English language by using words he made up and by using new and different syntax. Much in the same way, we see text messages using made-up abbreviations. Now that I have discussed how texting can further the English language, let me talk about my next point, which is how texting can lead to an increase in test scores. In an article titled Teens Ready to Prove Text Messaging Skills Can Score SAT Points, written by Christina McCarroll on March 11, 2005, she discusses how text messaging can lead to increased test scores in writing. While most people assume that texting leads to poor writing full of grammatical errors, McCarroll states that those who use texting as a way to communicate score higher on writing exams. This seems to be because students are exposed to writing more and therefore are more proficient in writing. McCarroll also says that while the individuals that use text messaging are proficient in utilizing abbreviated words and acronyms, they have not forgotten proper English and they seem unfazed in switching between the two. In conclusion, I firmly believe that communication through text can be efficient and in some cases the most logical form of communication between individuals. While texting can be used improperly and thus be ineffective, with the right situation and use, texting can be one of the best ways to get quick, concise ideas across. Today we've talked about how texting can be used to promote competent and productive communication, the constantly evolving English language and how texting has influenced that, and finally how texting has been shown to improve scores in writing. As a college student, I use text to communicate every single day. The ability to contact almost anyone I need in a quick and efficient manner is critical to managing time and meeting deadlines. The use of text messages is sometimes said to be detrimental to the English language, and I wholeheartedly disagree. Without text, the English language would not be what it is today.